Didn't surprise me.
That's been done different.
Yeah, actually, I think that happened.
I'm sure board
Some of
policy
it's
is
report
one
training oil.
change the order
Maybe that
by
was the same
mutual
thing.
agreement.
How long ago was it?
Otherwise,
Oh, no, but that happens with all the oil.
not in one.
You get that.
It's now the largest oil producing state.
Yeah.
Exceeding Texas. So that's-
I was all pumped
No.
up. Yeah.
I hit reply all, so I guess you set it to all like.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I am before you get to
Say, I always assume that's what
yeah, there's a little.
So if you're a teacher, you don't really certified.
Well, no, and that's good. That one.
Yeah, well, these guys do a video and hey Steve,
They said they were going to talk.
People would, yeah. No, like, I don't know about and for having done. Another piece. It's the higher numbers. So teachers can't.
Yeah.
They usually don't like to go home.
I'm gonna sit there and do it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try my just watch the pin there. Right. Okay. Yeah. But something about it's only one of your senses. Yeah. That they can't come back there. Oh, sounds okay. There, the microphone. And I'm gonna take a
watch them try to plan how they finally
I finally got to give you one.
I think that was the first.
always get conflict of interest.
Which opens one door.
That's all right.
Doesn't open any of the others that it fits. And, she went first.
Purchasing materials. Is also
Oh, that's great.
There are a couple people that said they
That's elevated.
No, this is actually the key cap that I have now.
Oh, yeah.
On my keys. Yeah, this is already the elevator can't run.
You also can't do the last one.
This is my first
Say initiative. And then next summer it's another one, the next summer it's another
It works in the high school.
All you need is something to go ahead and turn. I don't think there's any. I can do that.
I mean, I did a lot upstairs. And it was like,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, it's just like, wait a minute, you run into the custodian, I'm like, bike box. He's like, oh crap, we can hear him. Yeah, and you know, bike and back, that thing, it's at this point, and then this is the key to it, you know.
that you plug it in, it takes forever.
Yeah, so what I did.
Yeah, the elevator has you know,
I went to see another movie and then I saw it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
They run
Oh,
the other one stayed in my truck. Oh, we need to start carbon copy forms. There's one day some of these iPads are smashed the key to Someone helped me out getting when I had an office at the WIC. I needed a
I don't know if I got it about 3 minutes.
I know, but I don't know why.
I'd like to have these pause a lot of stuff.
Your computers were still sitting there.
To give me time to
Very well.
what I'm saying. I only get 3 minutes. So I'm gonna get my way through this and then hopefully ask some pointed questions.
Now you just the audio upload and back. Not gonna make any words at this point, you know.
Yeah. There's no one on there, we should just keep putting our name and our name and our name.
In
Just
case you
keep going
can't
back
make
and
it
forth.
free. You know, in case you can't make it up.
Oh,
You got an extra time.
Next or low? Oh, you're gonna think that, yes.
I've had a chance to look really.
I just took one
They only have 3 people for a total of
You should do it here, like, when you-
2 people, why can't we both have
You
that?
should have been
Or one with 2 people.
So basically the same thing is, yeah.
We'll just work on the same thing.
Yeah.
I said, okay, there you go.
Very easily though. Tony, we said Tony. I was just gonna see Tony and that's Tony. So we're just gonna go right now. And Tony's lies. Tony's lies. Tony will be honest.
What next? You know, it's maybe when the Gatorade.
And when I told him
We had audio on the air Tuesday. We're not sure why. Is there a reason what the time yeah, we were just yeah, somebody else is down here, I'm not sure.
It's Steve.
No, I guess I don't.
Yeah, we're trying to figure this out. Only thing I did was hook up audio and video. We're getting our two audio and video fine here, and it goes through TV.
Honor, good to see you.
No, Robert's behind
Moving us out.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Still going on.
Alright, I already have the commencement stuff.
This is nice to get this isn't on the website or something like that.
It's on YouTube, it's on the website.
Yeah, I thought they did it last year. You know, yeah, you get two discs.
Maybe it's on Blu-ray and,
Yeah.
what's that?
Wow. From the VCR, it's going into my computer. Oh, that's cool, but it's going online. Yeah, it's coming from.
I didn't get all duded up.
Should be giving the kids some pizza.
I said I didn't get all duded up.
We do this,
What's that?
whatever.
Like 5 hours this year.
It was,
No, it's,
he was filmed, wasn't it our guys?
Yeah.
No, it was our guys, they have their
Kids?
You have to take that off speaker.
We have four, oh, there's room. The only
I gotta get these all here.
everybody's here.
I get to sit next to you.
How we doing over there?
All right, we're finally, after 2 or 3 days, going to go ahead and get started. And we will start with the pledge. If everybody's ready. I appreciate that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome everybody. We do have our full quorum tonight, and I appreciate everybody being able to make it. And we will get to public comments in a second. And just and we probably do need to modify the agenda. Thank you, Chris. Go ahead, Brett.
If I can ask on the personnel report, I'd like to pull from the consent agenda the service staff, Roman numerals 1 and 2, place them as a separate item for voting prior to the superintendent's report. And then also following that, a second item, which would be a supplemental personnel report, also after the consent agenda, but prior to the superintendent's report.
Like item, well,
It's going to be
item D, or
you don't want to put it with the consent.
it'll be a separate item outside of consent.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 separate items outside of consent. One is pulling 2 items from the personnel report, and one is adding a supplemental.
And Danielle, I'm sure we'll figure that all out when she puts the minutes together. But I think Danielle's got it, so very good. So without objection, we will amend the agenda. And now we'll ready to hear from the public and staff, and we have a few folks signed up. Just the rules of the game. Certainly glad to have folks speak. Any item that has to do with a personnel issue, I really speak in general terms. If we get really specific, I'll stop you, and we will not go to specifics, but feel free to, Tony, go ahead and get started, and glad to hear.
Okay, thanks. Shall we stand? Yes.
Feel free.
Yeah, my name's Tony Orlow. I'm not just a member of IIT, but I'm a homeowner, taxpayer, neighbor, and most importantly, a father within the school district. On Monday, I sent each member of the board a letter, and I haven't heard anything back, and so I'd just like to read it in public, if I may.
No. I'm glad to hear you speak, but I really don't think it's probably going to be appropriate for you to read that whole email.
Okay, well, may I just skip to 4 questions that I have?
Sure.
Okay, well, part of my email spells out how this really does fall into a transfer of function under Article 5, Title A, Section 70 of the New York Civil Service Code. And there really doesn't seem to be much question that that code applies. If IIT is a function and ICSD and OCM BOCES are civil divisions of the state, it applies. So I'm wondering why HR is telling us it's not a transfer. And given that it is, why are they not following the protocol stated in Section 70, Paragraph 2? I also question the desire to lay people off rather than cut back on expenses that go out of the county, because when you fire local people, you damage the local tax base. When you're hiring outside people, you're sending local taxpayer money out of the district. And that's a big issue. And my last question is, if this is supposed to be a cost-saving measure, and I can't really tell whether it is or not, how much money are we likely to save? At this point, we've had 8 people through the school year. We're down to 7. I'm hearing that we're being replaced with 17. There's some kind of state aid that gets refunded the following year, but what's the bottom line? How much does it cost to have us versus all these OCM people? And how much of a refund through state aid can we expect? Is there cost savings or not? And what really is the reasoning? Thank you.
Sure, thanks. And Anthony? Anthony Miller.
I'm Anthony Miller. I don't live in this community, but I have worked in this district for 6.5 years now as IIT. Along the same lines as Tony, I don't know where cost savings is. I would like to see where cost savings is in this. I mean, no, I'm not a taxpayer, but my job is being affected. I didn't used to come to Ithaca, but my paycheck is largely spent in Ithaca now that I do work here. It's more convenient for me to shop here. It's more convenient for me to, eat here for my lunches and everything. So I do spend my paycheck in this community, and by sending my job to OCM, someone who lives in Syracuse, how is that helping the local community by getting rid of people who do spend their money here in this district? Then, like Tony said, I really want to know how this is not considered a transfer of function when clearly IT is a function and OCM is also a function. Doing a civil job, if I got hired by OCM, I would have had to take a civil service exam, just like I had to here, so it is a civil division. So I'd really like to know how this is not a transfer from one civil division to another inside the same state. That's it.
Thanks, Anthony. Anyone else wish to speak at this time?
Hey, Rob, I did want to speak briefly, if that's okay, or is there anything else?
Geez, Seth, I don't know. But anyone else regarding IT right now? If not, Seth, we'll break you down.
Thanks. Put me on the list.
We have to be official, Seth.
No problem. Well,
Sitting in a small seat.
yeah, the way it happened, obviously I was appointed as the city court judge, and the way it happened was a little quick, and I never got a chance to formalize it. And first express how fortunate it's been working with all of you throughout these years, especially working on behalf of kids. And the great thing about this board is that we're all from different perspectives, and we really are diverse in the best sense. And it's been great to have the discussions, the debates, the arguments, the couple of blow-ups we've had, but all on yeah, Jay, you were there.
Blow-ups that Seth caused, right?
Exactly. And
No, I'm just kidding, Seth. Go ahead.
and
Go
it's
ahead,
funny
sorry.
to be in this position now, no longer a board member. And I've watched over the past few years when former board members come back, they've almost all expressed this kind of happiness and joy. Oh, great! My life is back, and I'm not feeling that at all. I miss it. I miss being involved in this important work. I miss working with you all, and not being on the board now, I realize what a privilege it is to serve, because you're working on behalf of 5,000 students. From the student who we're struggling to keep in high school and get a GED, to the student who we're struggling to challenge them with Code Red or some thing that really brings them back in and they can do the work easily, but we really need to provide those offerings. So those students on both ends of the spectrum are what we're working for, and enjoy it. It's a privilege to be doing this work, even though you're doing it for free, even though it's a pain, but it really is a privilege to be in the game and working on behalf of those students. I thought about what we did in the time I was on the board, and I say we because it was all of us. We transitioned a superintendent. We hired a superintendent. We learned how to work with a different type of leadership. and we maintained our focus on the work and on the students. We got a new leader at the high school, and we all know how important it is to have building leaders. If you think about what we've done in terms of our building leaders, from the high school, middle schools, elementary schools, over the past few years, we've really transformed that. And I think we've enhanced our school leadership, and that's definitely why we're showing improvement in our graduation rates and things like that. We, and I do mean we, but we were able to follow people's strengths in this $100 million bond. You know, what we had in this board, I talked about diversity, is the financial expertise was great with the bond because we were actually able to use our money efficiently and actually do more. We're still doing projects off the savings. But in addition to that, we had situations where other board members who may not have had the financial expertise also brought in the design and knowing what our community needed. What we did at the park, where the pool is, that was, you know, Sean's was pushing for that, and we enhanced the design. And those kind of things are just great to work. What we've done with arts and athletics in a tough budget season, that's impressive. We have a fine and performing arts director. Our arts programming is growing. It's being enhanced. Those are some great achievements that we've all accomplished, and I have no doubt that you'll continue. Hey, but you know what? Working together as a board is hard. It's frustrating, especially when you're diverse as this board, and especially when there's so many strong personalities in this board. The one thing that has allowed me to kind of maintain my cool when dealing with, you know, someone opposing is to remember Judy Maxwell is volunteering because she cares about kids. I may disagree with her 100%, think she's totally off base on a particular issue, but I know every night she shows up because she has the same commitment I do. You know, Brad, if I disagree with you, you have a strong personality, but I always remember, you know what, Brad is about kids the same way I am. You know, and I can go and talk to everyone here, and I always remember, hey, we have a vote, it's over. Everybody here has the same commitment. So as you go forward these next few years, if we can keep that together, and I say we like I'm still part of it, and I'll be part of it, that's a critical thought to keep in your mind about the commitment that each person has. Last thing I'll say is even though I won't be here at these fantastic meetings, I will be right over in City Court. And I've talked about this a lot, you probably all heard this, but I have a continued commitment to work with our students. And I want to bring youth court here. If that doesn't happen, I want to be in this high school. I want to be a role model. I want that courthouse to belong to the students of Ithaca City School District. So I want field trips. I want them to know that building in and out. If we can match curriculum and do, you know, government curriculum things that affect that, I'm more than open to that. And I have enjoyed working with you on this important work. And I've learned from each and every one of you, and it's been a good experience. So thank you. Keep working on behalf of those 5,000 kids, and we'll do great things. So thanks a lot, and thanks for letting me formally say goodbye, although I'm not going anywhere. So thank you.
Thank you.
I almost had to give him the hook. I mean, it's like, thanks, Seth. We'll do student reps and then board responses. Connor, if you got anything going on.
Oh, I'm going to be doing something.
Oh, very good.
Although it's summer, school is still in session. Some IHS students are attending ICSD BOE's regional summer school in order to get ahead on or recover credit. Because district transportation does not cover this, we should be grateful for the IHS employee who applied for and got a grant for these students to have TCAT bus passes, which provides effective transportation to and from buses. Another educational opportunity is at the high school's Summer Academy, which is now in its second year. The Academy prepares students to take and pass the August Regents exams. Fortunately, transportation is provided and restorative and encouraging attendance policies are being enforced.
Thank you, Lisa. Although school is not in session, our students are still doing excellent things. They're attending school, as Lisa noted. They're having jobs, they're doing internships, they're doing summer collegiate programs all across these United States. They are visiting foreign countries, frolicking in grass, being mindful at the same time of harmful things like garter snakes and ticks. I want to touch on graduation, as you all have the commencement in front of you. Although it was a month ago, I haven't been here since graduation. And we heard meaningful addresses from students and administration alike. Two such were municipal superstar Savante Myrick and our own Mr. Eldred Harris. Both speeches resonated with the audience markedly. And with honor and distinction, I am proud to report that the class of 2014 did graduate. And they will go on to take the world as they hold the distinct title of IHS alum. One such alum is Dustin Brown. Dustin Brown, who the New York Times called the pivotal role in Los Angeles Kings' successes, as winning the Stanley Cup twice now with him as captain, brought home the old cup to home sweet home. And no doubt, reflecting on his time at IHS, well, he did it. Some neat things in the world of IHS sports follow. The Cascadilla Boat Club, which although is not a part of the Little Red sports program, but might as well be, was on one balmy July afternoon on their way to a regatta across state lines when the unthinkable happened. They ran into Aerosmith frontman and Emmy-winning singer Steven Tyler. Yeah. Yeah. Tyler was very friendly to the IHS students, and it was an experience they will never forget. The boys swim team, famous for blowing us out of the water with their might and talent, has achieved the second highest cumulative GPA in the nation. You heard that correctly, the nation. Out of thousands of swim teams and 50 states, these swimming scholars have taken the proverbial cake as runners-up across the nation. Something truly amazing. You know what else is amazing? The 8th grade basketball team, now freshmen, a lot of people forget, middle school, but they're now freshmen as the seniors have graduated, won a basketball tournament in another prestigious thing where LeBron James, one of maybe the most famous basketball player ever in some people's opinions, and defeated national teams such as the country of Mongolia's team that they sent, and won the whole entire team. So these hoop stars really impressed everyone. And no doubt, when they join IHS in the fall and their basketball team, they will give a whole new meaning to the word talent. And all good things must come to an end, and this report just has.
Thanks, Doc. Board responses? Anyone? Board responses? Sean first, then Brad.
First, thank you very much, Lisa, for telling us about the TCAT buses. A number of folks have worked on that project, but it's always delightful to hear how they're actually being used, because we envision them being used that way, and so that's phenomenal. So thank you very much for sharing that report. To the IIT folks, I've always said board meetings are a horrible way to engage in a dialogue for a whole host of reasons, one of which being legal reasons. It's difficult to engage in a conversation, but I heard the comments that were being asked, and there may be a different place to sort of have that conversation. There's no easy transition from that to Mr. Peacock, but I feel compelled to say a word of gratitude for Seth's decade of service to the ICSD. As some folks know, my research has historically been on Ithaca City School District. I've sort of, like the history of ICSD, have been trying to collect student handbooks from 1879 is my first one, and things of that nature, and so I'm very much aware of people's service on the board, and so a decade is no small time to give in service. Seth is also, without question, single-handedly responsible for my running on the school board. I met Seth after he ran, and after a couple conversations, he encouraged me to run, and so I'm indebted to him for that. But much more importantly, to the service that you've given to our community. So for our 4 years as vice president, for your 10 years of serving on the school board, I'm delighted that you are now a judge. Peacock, I have to call you your honor, but I'm going to miss having you as a school board member and being able to argue and vote against whatever you vote for. So good luck and Godspeed there, Mr. Peacock.
Missing that balance, Sean.
That's right. That's right. There's no
Brad,
yin
go
yang.
ahead.
Yeah, I want to echo Sean about Seth. Appreciated being on the board with him very much. Appreciate his opinion, and I think the mayor has made probably the best decision he could possibly make as far as the selection of a city court judge. I think as good as he could find in the community. So I'm glad the mayor made that appointment. Look forward to reading about the things that you do in the future. For the IIT folks, again, I think we'll hear some more and a little bit about some of the questions there. I'll just say that on the legal question having to do with the civil service, we have gotten the opinion that what we're doing is proper and within the law. So, just so that you know, there's more than one opinion, and we've gotten legal opinion that's opposite what you're concerned about.
Other comments, et cetera?
Just to Seth, you mentioned some of the things that the board did while you were on the board as a member, but I think that it's important that you be recognized. I was on the board at the time that you were a constant reminder of the desire to televise our meetings.
Oh.
And I think that for good, mostly. I'm glad that we're on TV, but it's your constant reminder, pushing, and keeping it on the agenda that we finally got our meetings televised. And that was because of Seth. It was an issue that he championed and continued to push throughout about a year until it finally got happened. Here we are on TV. Thank you, Seth, for that and all your other work.
One more reason to say thank you, and Elder, go ahead.
Just want to echo what Sean said. Seth and I share the same disease of law school, and often we take for granted the capacity that these professional and business and PhD programs give us to make change in communities as volunteers. In many respects, it is the only thing that ultimately matters, how people choose to use their time and energy and gifts. So I appreciate Seth for reminding me before I ran that I had the capacity to actually materialize the reality I wanted for the students here. And we have, without going into a separate itinerary of all the things we have done, I think it should be obvious to everyone in this room and everyone who's listening and everyone on the payroll how different this district is in the 9 years that he's been part of it. So I look forward to watching him blossom in a new role, and will not violate any confidences and sharing any information from here on in. To the IIT workers, as both Sean and Brad said, the opinions are going to be across the spectrum. I just want you to keep in mind, like we say to anybody, this group is only about kids. Ultimately, there is no decision we're making, irrespective of the financial implications, that we don't think is going to move this district forward in an evolutionary way so we can get the best instructional education in front of kids from our teachers. So what happens remains to be seen, but our motives are never going to change.
Anyone else? I'll just go. Thanks, Seth. It was a pleasure over the last 4 years, I guess, that we were the officers of this club, of this board. Unfortunately, Seth, I have to break in a new guy. So, but Chris is very ably stepped up and will be the vice president this next year. And for some reason, I'm the president again. But Seth, we've accomplished a lot, and it's been listed, but it's been a pleasure really getting to know you over the last few years, and really being able to do great work. And to that great work, we're going to move on, and we'll get to IT in a few minutes, but let's do the consent agenda if nobody has anything else, and so we can move on to the business of the day.
I'll move the consent.
Second by Judy Max, and then comments.
If I can speak to it. A number of donations here, IPEI, of course, in a couple of different places. You'll note a donation from the Community Foundation to BJM, supplies in a couple of places, and funding of an after-school program by anonymous donors, so we thank them for that. Appreciate what they're donating to the district and for our students.
Anything else of note?
There's a change request here to do some additional work at Markle's Flats to finish that off. Just to be noted that that'll be reimbursed by NYSEG. We contract for it on Markle's and get reimbursed by NYSEG for that work. Going to be some reseeding and some other drainage work done there to finish that project up. And then going back, oh boy, it would be 2 years ago now, voters approved the resurfacing of the tennis courts at the high school. We had delayed it because they were going to be putting a water or a sewer line underneath. Water line.
A utility.
Of some sort, so we delayed it. The city was actually able to sap under and not drill through it, but it was too late in the year by the time we do that last year. So that's going to get done this summer. So unfortunately for our tennis enthusiasts, for a couple of weeks, the tennis courts will be shut down while they get resurfaced, but then they'll be nicely newly surfaced in time for girls tennis in the fall.
They will be better. And you'd be surprised how hard it is to get grass to grow, but apparently we will get grass to grow at Markle's Flats. And probably July isn't the best time to do it, but they're going to keep working at it. But anything else on the consent? Without anything else, all in favor? That's everyone. And everyone is 8, but we are a 9-member board, and so we always need our majority on the 9. But we will be an 8-member board for another few minutes anyway. And now we had the first.
I'd like to move from the personnel report the service staff items Roman 1 and Roman 2.
Second.
Second by Pat. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? That's Judy, Chris, Rob, Brad, Eldred, Jay, and Pat. Those against? That would be Sean. And then the supplemental.
I'll move the supplemental. It's actually dated 22nd.
It could have gone on the other night, but
Second.
thank you, Pat.
This is supplemental personnel report, right?
Yeah, supplemental personnel report.
That is, in front of you now, if you have that. All in favor? That will be everyone on the supplemental. So now, Dr. Brown, superintendent's report. A summer superintendent's report, Dr. Brown. We finally got to you 2 days late, but we're all good. We're all here.
I have multiple items too.
Very good.
And I see Mr. Peacock left, but I'm going to say what I need to say about him anyway. I hope he watches it later. I hope it's no secret to anyone that he's a trusted colleague and he's a good friend of mine. And in this role, you don't have many friends, so when you have a good one, you appreciate him. And I appreciate him as a friend. And a quick story about what he's going to be for our city now in his seat and hopefully in the future from my perspective. About 4 years ago, a team of folks from Ithaca came to Charlottesville, Virginia to speak with me as part of a discreet interview process. And when looking outside my window, and seeing a big limousine bus that had Ithaca on the side and doing this discrete process. And then a small, what is it, self-drive, that little gray car, a Fusion?
Prius.
Yeah, Prius, that's it. Behind the bus. He was there as well. And after the interview that day and speaking with a lot of folks, he asked if he could see the city a bit with me. And we went to the common version of the common version in Charlottesville, which is the downtown mall. Hundreds of people out there. And folks who don't know, I have a twin brother. He's as popular in Charlottesville as Savante Myrick is in this town. And he is the man there. He's big time. And he was on the mall, obviously, hanging out. And I'm walking down, this twin brother, he has no idea I'm thinking about interviewing or ever leaving Charlottesville, Virginia. And I'm there with Seth. And I pointed my brother out to Seth. I said, that's my twin brother. He said, you don't have a twin, and that definitely wouldn't be that guy. So my brother's about 6'4", very light, and looks like a bodybuilder. So we don't look much like twins. Definitely not them. So Seth walks up to my twin brother, who has no idea what's happening, and he says to him, your brother is leaving Charlottesville and coming to Ithaca. And I thought my brother was ready to fight this guy. Like, who are you? And my brother and I have never been separated until coming to Ithaca. And Seth looked at him in that straight face and that voice that we all know, and he said, my community needs him. And that was all he said. And he said it in such a way, with such conviction about his community and what he wants and what he needs. And I think we've all seen it. He says things sometimes that rub you the wrong way at first, but it means a lot when he says it. He said that to my brother, and my brother looked at him and shook his hand and said, okay, tell me when he's going to come back home and visit. And I saw that day the power of this man and his personality, and I was sold on the job and on him as a person, as a leader in my future community. So I say to folks, let's continue to watch and appreciate this man. And I appreciate his service on the board, and I'm looking forward to watching what he'll do for our community and our community's young people. So I hope you watch that stuff, but I'll tell you that later as well. Some other items, graduation, we've spoken about. Thank you, Connor, for mentioning what happened with graduation. It was an amazing experience for me as well. I would like to thank Steve Cass for what you did to help bring that experience to not only the thousands of folks who were in the room, but for the many, many, many more who were watching from around the world. See, we've had a chance to check out the stats. It's one of the things that people, when you talk about technology tools and how they can enhance the experience for folks, Steve and I received emails from grandparents, relatives, from as far away as around the world. And folks who couldn't leave their homes, who wanted to see their grandchildren and relatives walk that stage, able to walk that stage, and how they expressed their thankfulness for having that opportunity. So I want to thank you, Steve, and your team of folks who worked extra hours to bring that experience to our community across the world. Thank you. Next week, we're hosting another summer event, summer conference. I did a search a couple weeks ago. I wanted to know who was the most popular TED speaker. I think we've all had a chance to watch a TED video at some point in our lives. The person with the most viewed TED Talk is a gentleman named Sir Ken Robinson. It's been viewed millions of times now. We're fortunate because of the work that's happening in our school district and in our community. This person has been attracted to want to come speak and share his thoughts and expertise and experiences with us. Through partnership with many, many folks, including Imagine Learning, IPEI, Parent Link, we have a lot of folks who are partnering with us to bring this experience to our community. And we'll have hundreds of educators from across the nation here to be here for I can't say TED like it, but a speaker series of sorts. Where we're going to have Sir Ken Robinson, who's an amazing speaker, speak and address folks here in our community. But then many, many other thought leaders, including some local folks, including Kyle Walker, who's going to share. And each of the speakers is going to be speaking about how our mission and vision resonates with them and how their experiences and innovations that they've been able to bring forth connects to our district's mission and vision. So we're looking forward to an amazing experience next Wednesday at 9 a.m. It's going to kick off, and each board member is invited to be there as well. And we have many community members who are going to be there as our guests also. And finally, I'd like to spend some time addressing the technology questions that I've received. And I did, but I listened very closely to both Anthony and Tony as they posed some questions and some concerns. And I want to thank you for posing those questions and concerns, because those are the same questions and concerns I've heard now for about 4 years during my tenure. We talk about transparency. We talk about how we're driven by qualitative and quantitative information. So we've done community surveys. We have a Your Voice listening survey online. We've done multiple community surveys. We've done instructional adaptations, conversations in every building where we talk to folks. We've heard over and over, whether it's through a survey response, through my experiences in these conversations that we're having in departments and in schools. During the budget process, when we visited multiple community sites and schools, we've heard that we need to continuously improve what we do as far as technology services. Because the world is changing, not just us, but every school district is struggling with how to provide exceptional services when it comes to technology in this expanding world that our young people are living in. And more and more devices are coming in, regardless of whether or not we're providing them or not. They're coming in every day, and we got to be keeping up. So we've been asked to not only keep up and provide better and better service, but we've been also asked to be more and more efficient. And we heard that very loud and clear through our budget process. Not only to be more efficient, but we've been asked to look at all the services that we provide, and if we can do things that, such as partner with BOCES, receive state aid, and become more and more efficient. So we have looked at many things. Technology services is one of those things. So we talk about the process. Yeah, this has been an ongoing conversation for many, many years, and we have been tasked by our community, our Board of Education staff, to offer better and better service more and more efficiently. From my perspective, the recommendation to the board and to our community and to our staff, and it's been approved tonight, is to do this through this service that we're going to be purchasing through CENIRIC, the OCM BOCES. 7 of the 9 districts in our region are doing this. Many, many districts across our state are partnering with the OCM BOCES CENIRIC to provide technology services. Many. I think you two gentlemen actually worked in a BOCES prior to coming to Ithaca. I know you did. So we are moving in that direction. Yes, these services are aidable. We'll talk about costs in a minute, but I want to say we are looking at having an additional 17 staff members coming in, but we are going to have the same level of support and probably a few more additional staff members coming in to provide support. Consistent staff members that will be under the direction of the district. So that's one thing that folks always ask about when you're contracting out with BOCES. We've had BOCES employees on staff in IIT and other areas of our organization for many, many years right now. I believe there are 2, if not 3 members of our current IIT staff that have some connection to the BOCES or BOCES employees. And they are consistent employees, the same people, year to year, day to day, month to month, year to year. And our wishes are to have the folks who are coming in be on site here day to day, month to month, year to year. The positions are different in name. They have different job requirements, different qualifications, and they're different titles, period, when compared to the titles that we have currently. Our folks have been encouraged to apply for the positions at the CENIRIC, at the BOCES. Many of them have, and we have some of them have received offers and have accepted offers and will be on site here next year as we move forward in new titles providing services for us. Some other questions I want to make sure I get to. We're looking at costs. In addition to the staffing, we will be having an enterprise systems consultant, land techs, network administrators, and technology integration specialists on site. When looking at costs, that has been one of the questions. We're looking at just the COSR increase for the COSR for CENIRIC, BOCES, and we'll be paying staffing. We will be saving, or there'll be efficiency of about $178,000 difference in staffing costs right now in ICSD and with the COSR. Not an increase, but $178,000 savings. With the aid that will be generated, we're looking at about $575,000 efficiency from year to year. So that with the aid, along with just looking at costs in the COSR and in cost of staffing, we're looking at close to $600,000 in recurring efficiencies, while providing what I feel will be exceptional service to our organization and to our community and to our young people. So I hope I covered. I have a lot of bullet points here. I want to make sure I covered most of the questions. But I think we informed by conversations we've been having about improving and being more efficient, and staffing support that will be consistent, and from my perspective, offering an exceptional level of service, and including some folks who are current IT employees in our district also being here next year. And with that, Mr. Andrew, I'm done with my superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. And so we do have some school district business to get to tonight, and we'll try to keep this fairly straightforward, but we do have a few items, and certainly first and foremost is the vacant board seat. And we've, some of us have been down this road before, I guess, but over the past few years, we have had a few board members for various reasons have to resign their seats and take a leave from and leave their position. Seth, as soon as he took the oath of office for his judgeship, when he was appointed by the mayor, basically was immediately resigned from the board. That was just he cannot serve in both capacities, and so that was happened fairly quickly. So we can go down through the various options, but Brad, who's...
Do you want to summarize the options, or?
Well, no, go ahead. You're the legislative, finance, and legislative.
We could, there's a number of options. We can decide to have a special election, invite people to run, hold a special election. I'm not sure, Daniel, if there's a particular number of days we have to give for that, but we could, I assume by fall, it could be scheduled and you could do an election. But that comes with the cost of running a special election with it. We could appoint someone. The law allows the 8 remaining board members to appoint a 9th if we so choose. Any qualified citizen could be appointed to the board.
By whatever mechanism that we chose.
Yeah, that'd be
interview
another
process,
discussion, or we could just take a vote tonight and appoint somebody for it. Or we can continue forward with 8 members until the next regularly scheduled election in May, and have that position open and available for candidates next May. So it's one of the 3 what we can do.
Sean?
Because we all love these things, it's policy 2150.
Oh, thank you.
Filling a board vacancy. We approved it last May, as a matter of fact, but it outlines the very 3, based upon educational law, the 3 scenarios that Brad just outlined. So if anyone at home is interested in what our board policy is of filling a board vacancy, 2150.
Wow. He knows the number.
Yeah, well, I have
I'm gonna
pulled it up special just for that.
I'm going to assume Sean pulled that up
Off the top
before.
of his head.
I knew it was in the 2000s. I know where it was.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll speak to this. The last time we were in this, I was a board member also in this scenario, with serving with a couple of folks on this board. We had a board vacancy. We entertained a number of ideas, and partly why we revamped the policy was based off of that experience there. I was of the mindset then, and I'm of the mindset now, to leave the board vacant, to leave the seat vacant until the next general election. And I'm of that mindset for 2 reasons. One, I think that allows the voters to decide. It's not worth the expense of particularly in a lean budget year, it's not worth the expense of a special election. As I said at that point in time, I actually think while law dictates that we have a 9-member board for our district, that sometimes having 8 members of the board forces us to have different conversations because of the possibility of a tie. And the last time we had an 8-member board, we appointed Dr. Brown as our superintendent. And so it seemed to work out okay for us so far anyway. Well, we'll yet to be determined yet, but we'll find out, right? But we didn't seem to have any major catastrophe last time we had an 8-member board, and I think we actually worked fairly well together. So I would like to support the position of keeping the seat vacant until the next general election, and then working out the details of who gets the 4 members get elected.
Go ahead, Judy.
I would also like to support Sean's idea. I was on the 8-member board and found it equally as easy to work with 9 or 8. I think we work very well together, so I don't think that it will be a problem. I would like to see the public vote for the 9th person. I don't want to spend money for an election, which we figured last time would be about $14,000. So I'd like to go with 8.
I would also like to support Sean's idea. I was the person who, when I was first elected 3 years ago, had to fill the vacant position, and I got the phone call that said, "Congratulations, you have been elected, and because you got the highest number of votes, you have to start right away, and you can't wait till July." So I think I have a stake in this. I am uncomfortable on the matter of principle of a small group of individuals appointing someone rather than letting the public elect. And I am all for people running and for the public giving a vote. In this last election, no one but the incumbents bothered to run, and so I don't know that there's other interest out there. And as for holding a new general election when nobody wanted to run just a few months ago, I think it would be a waste of district funds.
Sure. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, Pat just stole everything I was going to say. I don't see the benefit and the immediate need for us to go through that process. So I agree with everyone that we should leave it vacant.
Do we need a motion?
I'll just say ditto. I think we're fine with the.
All right.
I make a motion that we proceed by leaving the seats vacated by Seth Peacock vacant until the general election of May 2015.
Second. Second by the chorus. Take pick. We discussed it. All in favor? That's everyone. Thanks. Certainly appreciate that. On to an item that's frankly much more complicated, and I'll Brad, go ahead.
Sure.
Utility tax.
We had a discussion at Finance Committee about the possibility small cities, school districts, of which we are one, can assess a utility tax. We do not currently. Many small city school districts in the state do. We're allowed to assess a tax up to 3%. That would be gas, electric, telephones, etc. A utility tax. The city already does. Small cities are allowed to, and Ithaca does. The county does. It's an option for us. We're getting more data on it as to approximately what kind of revenue we'd be potentially looking at. Our committee discussed it and was not discussing anything at the 3%. We were thinking something smaller, but to provide some budgetary flexibility for this board and to not go to the maximum so that there would be flexibility for future boards, especially given the property tax cap and the difficulty we had this last year passing a budget over the property tax cap. Who knows, 5 years from now, it might make sense to increase the utility tax 0.5% and stay within the property tax cap or something like that. I can see that kind of a scenario in the future. So we were looking at it as the possibility for some modest additional revenue, but also additional flexibility for the board. It has an extended timeline for its approval. And so part of what the committee recommended and what I'll move tonight is that we set a public hearing on the topic for 6:45 on the date of our second September meeting. Somebody's got a calendar in front of them, can tell me what that is. 23rd. Because if we then were to potentially go ahead with it, the Department of Taxation and Finance has up to 90 days to institute it, and they only do it on the beginning of a quarter. So it ends up with a pretty long timeline if you wanted to go ahead with it. So what we're looking for is more information from our staff and from our legal folks, try and get a better fix on how much we think it would be, and then bring that information to you. We're getting a list of all the school districts that already assess the tax, so you can take a look at that list.
And what percentages?
And what percentages they're at. I think most of them are at 3 actually, but see where they are on that. So it's something the Finance Committee would like the board to consider this year, provide some flexibility and some additional revenue. Nobody likes an additional sales tax, but it is an option for us going forward. And we think it's one, the Finance Committee thought it was one we needed to study further and bring to the whole board and to bring to a public hearing and see if anyone came forward with any comments at that. So given that, I'll move a public hearing on the Ithaca City School District instituting utility tax for, is it September 23rd? September 23rd, and I'm suggesting 6:45 before a regularly scheduled meeting.
15 minutes before the regular meeting?
We'll make it a half an hour, make it 6:30. 6:30.
Why that date?
And it's got to be at least 45 days out.
You got to announce it 45 days.
Got to announce it at least 45 days.
So there is some sort of impetus to make this tonight. So
yeah, that's why.
So where's the? How do we find out about the utility tax? If
I was reading a newspaper article from another school
Somebody
district.
second that?
I did.
Sorry, go ahead, Brent.
Right, it has been second. Go ahead.
That's how we found out about it. I was reading a newspaper article about another school district. Random. So then did some research and found out that in fact small city school districts can and many do.
So I want more information, but you're also asking for a vote to proceed forward
with a hearing.
Yeah, but it's a step forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's the next step in the process. We're going to go down this path. But is there any other additional information? Something in Dropbox someplace, or is it?
Not yet.
Not yet. Man, it's going to get more things to us.
And so the 45 days out. So in other words, we have to vote on it tonight because we want to have it on September 23rd, which does what for us in the next step of the process?
It allows us to get it to. Allows it to then bring it to the. If we decide to then bring it to the board, we can bring it to the board at any date after that. And then, assuming it were passed, Taxation and Finance has at least 90 days to process it, and it then goes to the beginning of a quarter. So it.
We don't know their quarter.
Yeah, we do. December 1, March 1. There's different quarter. Yeah, it's not a calendar quarter, Jay.
But you do know the.
But yeah, we do know the dates.
So keep going. What quarter?
Well, this wouldn't be any early. The earliest it would be the March 1, 2015.
Or May 1.
The March is there. Then it would be June 1.
Right, June. Sorry,
Right,
June.
March 1st.
Not July.
Would be the earliest.
The earliest that they could charge it.
Right.
Which then means that one of the
Revenue
issues
would-
we had was that we may be able to estimate to some extent what revenue is collected, but it will be an estimate because there's no good database of the school district as a collector of utility. There is I guess there's data for the city of Ithaca. There might be data for what?
For the county.
Town or for the county. But since our school district is overlapping into different towns,
It's
so even if it starts March 1st, that we begin to make the charge, we won't get the dough until March, April, May, and it's paid in June or July. So
it'll
unfortunately,
be into the next budget year. Anyway.
we won't even have a number to cook into the budget.
So have we done any research and locally about why other districts have and we haven't? Is there anything in the minutes that seem to indicate this is at least part of a conversation at prior boards? Is there any hang up?
It was researched by the prior superintendent in 2009, and to my knowledge was brought to the attention of no one on the board. There was a resolution drafted, there was other information gathered in 2009. I have no recollection of it. I'm taking it from your expression that you have no recollection of it. So it would appear for whatever reason that didn't come forward. And it may have been the timeline. It may have been that it couldn't have solved the budget issue at that time because of the way the timeline is built. So
That's when New York State was basically being wondering whether they can make state aid payments in the middle of the year, things like that.
That was when the fiscal crisis, and I think the timeline probably backed off going forward with anything on it. It is an extended timeline.
Do you want to give me any kind of idea what this is going to do to my utility bill, or do you want to wait on that or until you have more info?
I mean, what we've discussed at the finance committee would be just a 1%. So I guess if you're paying $100 on your utilities, it'd be $1.
I'm just trying to give folks an idea.
Right.
Yeah, just every month it's just.
Right. I mean, right now, you can look at your utility bill now that I've looked at this. I've actually gone and looked at mine, and there is quite a large sales tax piece there because the county assesses.
Sure,
state
they're
and
already.
so forth.
Yeah.
Does the school district, they pay a utility, do they pay sales tax? No.
I don't believe so. And it is not, that's one of the items still being researched, is who's exempt. I believe this is treated like a sales tax. And therefore, if you're exempt from a sales tax, you're exempt from this. But I don't know that for a fact right now. That would be my reading of the legislation, and that's not my profession, so we'll let somebody else interpret that. But I believe if it's a sales tax, they're exempt. If this were to happen to have been a use tax, they would not be, but this is I believe it's a sales tax. So unlike the sidewalk tax or the proposed stormwater tax, those are use taxes, and so exempt organizations pay them.
To be determined in court.
So, Brad, I don't think you know this, but as it's researched, would be that, say with our Time Warner bill, that you might have the all-in-one deal, for telephone, internet.
I have no idea how that works.
How they break it out and charge something to phone only and not to.
It's an excellent question.
Yeah.
I'll add that to the list.
However, I think it has to be that it's being done elsewhere. However it works, it's not new.
Oh, it's not new.
There's an answer to that.
No, this has been around, I think it's some 15 years now.
There's, which goes to the point, I think everybody on the board is going to need a whole lot more information. You know, what districts, how pervasive is this, or how useful, I suppose any revenue stream is useful these days, but how palatable this is to us and to the community.
I agree.
You know, and setting a hearing date is going to give us an opportunity to get a lot more information to the board and frankly to the community as well, I would hope.
And we could always decide to cancel the hearing.
Or postpone.
Or postpone, whatever.
If we don't like
the information we're seeing, or we're not ready to move ahead with it, we can always postpone.
Or frankly, if Jay's basic questions and John's and everyone's are not being met, then.
If we can't get those answered the next week and a half, 2 weeks, I'd be surprised, but it's possible.
Right.
Brad, I appreciate that because I was trying to figure out how to proceed forward, but you know, understanding if we get the information we don't like it, then we find a way to cancel the hearing or postpone it or do whatever. That makes it easier to take a step forward just to get us on the clock, get us on the calendar. It's going to be, you and I are going to have some of this conversation about my not wanting to tax and still want to spend. So I know I've got to reconcile that letter somewhere. But so there's going to be a lot of questions to be answered as we move forward.
Understand.
And comment.
What would take place at this hypothetical hearing?
Public comment. So obviously we'll have to get more information, not just to the board, but out on the web.
We'd have to push out information. We have to be extremely transparent with any action like this.
I mean, my expectation is that Danielle will meet the letter of the law and have an announcement right away about the public hearing, but then we can do a press release and so forth closer to that time frame with the information for folks and put more stuff on our website as well. But from a legal standpoint, we're required to be at least 45 days out and say there's going to be a hearing. So
but we also, as you can imagine, Connor, I mean, we have to be very mindful of the visuals of, okay, we're voting to raise the utility tax in the fall, and then, okay, we're going to hit your property taxes to the max amount that we can in the spring, and how does that, we're going to have long and deep conversations about that. Obviously, the state tax on state aid, the gap elimination adjustment would have a big impact on what we do, or that's so again another revenue stream that hopefully will be eliminated or dramatically reduced. But if we don't look at some ways to relieve the property taxes, then we're also in a position where we're not doing what we have to do. So it's multifaceted, and hopefully it'll be interesting conversations. Elder, go ahead.
I never assume anybody in the audience or watching understands any of this, even though we discuss it in an extreme level of detail during budget season. We're in the middle of summer, so people are probably thinking about boating, golf, and barbecue. So here's the long and short of it. So we've been operating in the 2% world years before the governor saw fit to tell us we had to do that. Doing that and trying to stay within the confines of the financial constraints that some of our board members had about raising taxes, we've now emptied our coffers. And it's beginning to affect some of the services and the quality offerings we can offer to the community and our children, which again, from my perspective, I always try to elevate them to the top of the list. Oftentimes in these discussions, you won't even hear the word kids, right? They're somewhere around 16. Last budget season, we were faced with the potential of raising the property taxes higher than this district and this community has seen in a long time. If we can allay that with another tax, that may seem to some people like we're just shifting dollars around. It's an old urban game called three-card money where you're trying to find the dot under the cap. Well, to Rob's point, we're operating $22 million in the deficit because of promises the state made to us, which we just haven't seen. So we are always thinking about ways to continue to make this an excellent district, and if this is one opportunity that we can explore, of course we're obligated to do it. But I'll say again, for those people, if we move forward with this, who don't even want us to increase their utility bills by 1%, we hope we can get them on board to begin to write and call the state and say, hey, we hear you're holding $20 million of our kids' money. What's the deal? So one way or another, we're going to try to maintain the excellence that our community is used to, and we're going to explore this additional opportunity.
So good points, Eldred. It occurred to me as we were talking about this, that there must be dates that we have to pick the percentage that we want charged.
Oh, we would want it. I
Well,
think the finance committee.
there's got to be a law.
No, there isn't, oddly enough, not on a date. When we adopt.
There's all these other things about
When
dates.
we adopt, if we were to adopt a resolution, that's the date on which you'd have to have it. I don't think we can go to a public hearing without suggesting to the folks what we're proposing.
Well, there's that, but the other is that it occurred to me, like, what, going forward, when do you pick a percentage? If you want to go up or down? Or
And then any
given year or
any meeting you wanted to.
Really?
And then
There's a limit
and then
to how
taxation
high
and
you go.
finance, there's a limit up to 3%.
I understand.
And you can only move in 0.5% increments, Jay.
Oh, I did not know that.
You can only move in a 0.5% increment, but other than that, I think you could, 4 years from now, you could do it at an October meeting, May meeting, or whatever. And then taxation and finance has 90 days to institute.
Could you make 2 changes in 1 year? I'm not advocating that.
I have no idea.
I'm
I'm
wondering-
looking, I've read the legislation twice, and I'll say I don't recall anything like that.
It's out there, people have been doing it, it'd be interesting to, I have no.
See, Jay, I think most people are already at the max, so they're not making changes.
Right.
And they're not.
They're at the max, and you don't think that they have to revote that annually or anything? No.
I'm sure just
There's no municipality out there
just
that's
stays.
backing it all.
automatic rollover.
Yeah, they're not, right. And you
That
can-
would be interesting to see if it's an automatic rollover.
Oh, I know, that I know. Once you
is?
voted it, it's in place.
We don't have to vote for it every year, is that?
Right.
Right. And you could always vote to suspend, I suppose, or
sure.
eliminate.
Or reduce, whatever.
Reduce.
Right.
Not many municipalities vote to reduce
But they
taxes.
could.
But they could. they're in the same boat as Buffalo. Anything, Chris?
No, because I would just end up repeating what Eldred and everyone else said, but we are challenged with, Dr. Brown said that our budget process is a year-long process, so we need to look at everything at our disposal and be diligent with how we do it and transparent, so this is the start of that process.
Well, we're in July and we're making budget decisions in July.
So, and hopefully,
we already have today.
You know, everything we just recently went through, we're showing our diligence with that, so that's positive.
Any other? You did you move it?
We did.
Again, it is just the date for tentative public hearing, but we will get that information out if we vote for it.
Yes.
Any other questions? Eldred did leave the room. Do I need to wait? All in favor? That's everyone, and Eldred is absent for that vote. Well, good. Well, all right. Well, we shall see, Dr. Brown. That's one more item to add to the list of interesting things we can talk about. And it would be nice to, Dr. Brown, talk about kids in the classroom and excellence in education. And we will see that next week a little bit. We're gonna have the opportunity to hear some good folks next Wednesday. 9 o'clock, keynote is when?
9 a.m. 9:15.
Essentially, if we are there early, we will see the keynote. And
there will be a student performance in the afternoon too, I think.
Is the schedule online?
I didn't see it.
There's an app, and I will send the link to the app. We're sending out an email to everyone who's registered, and I'll send you the same email, and you can download. The app is in the App Store right now. We're fine-tuning the pictures in it.
Dr. Brown, for those who are appless, is there a way to see when that's going to be?
We'll get the schedule. There are other ways to get the schedule. It'll be posted online as well. Some people were like, "Oh, it's a cool app." No, like an app.
If it was on the website, that would be good. Any other business?
I'd be remiss if I didn't announce to my fellow board members that today is board member Chris Malcolm's birthday.
Hey.
I'm glad we waited 2 days so we can celebrate your birthday, Chris. And
Thank you so much.
You get to celebrate your birthday at a board meeting. What can beat that? I mean, that's just so good. I mean, that's great.
Day of Wegmans can beat it.
A day of Wegmans. There you go.
Move adjournment?
We will. You do see some committee meeting dates, and please meet, elect a chair of your committee, etc. Due to the good work that we all do. So, without objection, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.